Okay, I dug a few potatoes out of the top. They're just about poking up out of the soil. Some of them actually were poking out. I pulled them anyways, but look at that's a full potato. It doesn't need to grow any bigger than that. I'm leaving the plants still growing because there's going to be baby potatoes in there under the soil. You can see most of these are still alive and thriving, so I'll let them keep growing. The smaller potatoes. The squirrels are in here digging up potatoes, chomping away. Here's an example. Yeah, do a little chomp chomp on that. That's green anyway, so I would have cut that off anyways. So, but I don't imagine they found that to be very tasty. And they have a few holes in here dug. So I'm sharing with the squirrels. But if you take a look, now those are red chieftains, and this is my rows. These are my rows of russets. So at this end, I must have thrown in a few extra chieftains that I had, because for the most part, they're supposed to be russets. But so these are supposed to be red chieftains. And also this other brand that Rich Kirby gave me that is yellow fleshed potatoes. I absolutely love them. They're my most favorite. I don't know their name, but I will endeavor to find out what they are. They are just fantastic. They're like I've shown them in other pictures, and I'll show them again when I harvest them this year. They're almost like a triangular shape. They're wide at one end and they narrow at the other. And when you cut them, they're yellow flesh. And the outside of the potato has little tiny spots on them, but they're not those spots that they say are a bacteria or a disease or whatever. This is an actual spot on the skin. It's part of the potato. So once I find out what it is, I will share that, because they are indeed my favorite. And I want to make sure that I have lots. I want to save lots to grow next year. But anyways, I'm just showing you, it's just potatoes everywhere. They're my most favorite, besides carrots. They're my most favorite food to grow. I used to not really care for potatoes. I was so sick of them. If anyone has a English background or Irish background, you know that that's all your parents ever fed you as a kid. I'm sure we had potatoes growing out our ears. I was so sick of them, but it's different when I grow them myself. I'm so proud of growing food. I am so impressed with the flavor of homegrown potatoes that there is now nothing that keeps me from them. When I buy them from the store, of course, they've been stored for months and months and months, and their freshness is gone. So these ones, there's nothing that compares to the taste of a potato that you harvest from your own garden, that you grew with nutrients that are organic, natural, not artificial, not forced. It's made from the earth. So the absolute most delicious. So if you've never grown potatoes, I encourage you to do it. You can grow them inside, you can grow them in buckets, you can grow them in planters, you can grow them any way you want, any time of the year. You just have to provide light and water and warmth. And when they're done, they provide you with food. And then when the food has been sitting for a while, those individual potatoes grow tubers, and they start growing another potato plant. So they're quite fantastic. And I'm going to show you, because potatoes have two ways where they survive and thrive. Just let me find it. Here it is. And so they grow a potato in the ground that will grow a new potato, and they grow these, I don't know if they're called pods or seeds, but the flowers on a potato sometimes turn to this, not always. And I didn't know this until last year when it started happening to me. that I researched it, but there are hundreds and hundreds of little potato seeds in here. You dry this out and save the little tiny potato seeds. You plant them anytime you want because they don't go bad, they don't rot. And I will show you, I planted, let me see where they are, because they're not very big because these guys grew over top of them. But under here, see, there's a little one. There's like 2 in here that I planted. So from those seeds, I grew some potatoes and I put them along here because I had a space. But these potatoes grew over top of them. So this is the only one I can see, is this one. So the other ones might have dissolved. Anyways, I'll find out when I harvest these. So next year I'm going to try it differently. I will put the potato seeds in their own row. See, these ones they're too exposed. I don't know if you can see that. They are exposed to the sun. So actually that looks like a white potato. Looks like a white potato. Anyways, they're too exposed to the sun, so you have to cover your potatoes. Or if they're green, I forget the name of the product that makes them green, but it's got something to do with being exposed to the sun. You can't eat them. You get sick. You might get sick. I don't think you die. But anyways, cover them up. I think they will go back to yellow. So, but anyways, I will find out when I do harvest if this little guy from a potato seed produced any potatoes this year. But next year I'm going to do a much better job of planting the potato seeds in the ground away from these other massive, I mean, look at the thickness of the stalk on those. These are just magnificent. Absolutely. We feed them with natural, look at this. I'm going to show you the thickness of that stalk. That's crazy. Look at that. That's just amazing. And so strong they are. And they're tall, so they have fallen over. But this is what happens when you use natural fertilizer. We use our horse manure from 1 and 2 years back with hay and straw compost. And we let it grow and dissolve and turn into nutrient-rich soil that we then plant the potatoes in, and it feeds us. So these potatoes will feed us for a year and more, and then they'll provide the potatoes that we will plant next year to grow our next batch. That's just wonderful whenever you start to wonder how this earth is made, if it's all happenstance, sorry, I cannot speak with my scleroderma mouth, or whether there's a plan behind it. There has to be a plan. This cannot be an accident and have this happen. This is just amazing. Trust me, I have wondered. I've been through I was raised in a religious cult my entire childhood. So you get fed a lot of BS that's not true, and you even wonder what kind of a existence we came from. But anyways, I wanted to share that with you. This is one of my turnips. I planted turnips this year. I'm so excited. Squirrels are eating on them though. So I only have about 8. It's not going to feed us for much. And then the little brats ate half of it. Look at this. Look at this, hey? Oh, he didn't eat on this one. He ate on the other one. There's another one back there. I covered these up though because they're getting exposed. And I don't know when I harvest it. Here's my purple beans I had for our meal last night. We had them. There's some more growing. These will just continue to produce flour and beans for the whole rest of the summer. Like every day I would come out and pick my beans and take them in and we would eat them. And then the next day there would be more. So there's a bunch of little ones growing. I will harvest those in a couple of days. But I didn't get many surviving this year. I got sick, kind of had a mess going on in my garden here. My radishes bolted. You can see they bolted, went to seed, so they covered up several of my, there's a bean plant in here. Gently unlock it, and this one, so a lot of them got covered up. I wasn't able to weed like I normally would and stay up on top of it. So I'm still catching up. That's part of the hard part of scleroderma. You don't get to plan your life. Scleroderma tells you whether you're going to get out of bed that day or that week or that month. And I went through, it was at least 1 month, if not 2, of struggling. And the pain is so great, it's nearly impossible to survive. And these are my scarlet beans. First time trying them. My friend Corey sent me seeds. I love her so much. So this is my first time. And near as I can tell, I don't have any beans out of these yet. I haven't seen any. But they've been in flower now for, probably a few weeks. I think those are stinging nettles. I have to look it up. I forget. There's a name for them. I think that's what they are. But anyways, if they're useful for anything, I will utilize them. If not, they'll go into the compost pile. And I have planted over here, once I got this all weeded, that was supposed to be my spinach, my kale, my lettuce. None of it grew, or what grew was eaten by the squirrels. And I did plant a couple of rows of carrots that didn't take either, got again eaten. And so I just planted a row, and I'm going to plant 2 more of carrots. Try and get some that will maybe be harvestable by September. We'll see if they'll grow. As soon as I planted them, we had a huge thunderstorm, I think 2 nights in a row. So they've got lots of moisture. So anyways, this is my excitement for the day. You can't even walk amongst the potatoes. They are taken up so much. You're supposed to have walking room amongst them, and they grew into one another. So anyways, if you come to my house, you get to eat potatoes.